every athlete, every person, every human being has an opportunity. Some opportunities don't come when you want them. But if you're prepared, good opportunities can happen. Always be ready, because you never know when your number is gonna get called.
I'm not coming back.
Emmy Apparel. Encourage me. I'm young.
Calvin T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIYTV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
You have young black boys with braids filled with rage trying to handle their problems with a sawed-off gauge. You got young black women disrespecting their bodies. Instead of being with their kids, they would rather party, coming in all drunk, smelling like Bacardi. You got crack babies dying, newborns crying, nowadays even ministers lying. I tell you, man, what happened to our black teachers, speakers and preachers, mothers that feed us, daddies that teach us. I tell you, man, it's just a shame. Nowadays, it's like we scared, so black people keep on trying, because these last days and our race is dying. As a youngster, I never wanted to do what was right. I thought I wanted a baby mama. I didn't know I needed a wife, because a family isn't common in a black man's life. As kids, we're taught to think it's all right, being awake and all asleep in the middle of the night, having to listen to our parents, argue and fight. I tell you, black men, it's just not right. So black men, we need to change the cycle. Otherwise, your kids is going to be just like you. Grow up and try to fight you, disrespect you just to spite you. I tell you, black man, we need some help. A black father tells his son, boy, don't do drugs. He said, but daddy, you sell them. He thought about it for a minute. He didn't know what to tell him. A black mother tells her daughter, don't be having sex with boys. She said, mommy, what do you mean? You got pregnant with me at the age of 14. 5 kids, but 6 baby daddies. That mistake happened because it was 2 men when you had me. So black people, do you see what I mean? I don't mean to be facetious, but our community is a broken puzzle. And to pick up the pieces, we gonna need Jesus, because he'll be there through any weather. And if the storm gets too bad, he'll be your umbrella. So black people, keep on trying, because these are the last days and our race is dying.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, way to kick that off, Jay. Good afternoon. It's Put Your Family First podcast. We're live in the building, and we wanted to kick off this conversation with my BBBM brother, Jason Turner. And so we're going to get into it, and just another great example, another story, another father who's overcome obstacles and did things and do things and incorporate. This is going to be an exciting show today on Put Your Family First. Heather, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome. I'm happy to be in this space.
Yeah, it's the vibe about to get live. It's about to get live. This is what we do. Brother Dave, talk to us for a second.
Well, life is good, but I do want to give a shout out to all our veterans today who have sacrificed their lives and still sacrifice, and we want to give them their props, because without them, America wouldn't be free.
Veterans Day.
Indeed.
They made it all possible for rich people who look down on them, huh? Ain't that amazing?
Yes.
It's amazing. Well, first of all, I got to give it up to my man, Jason Turner. Give Jason Turner a hand for that beautiful poem. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good. I can't complain.
Good. You winning.
We on the other side.
When you winning, why would you complain? You know, like, a win is a win, they say. right? They say 2 wrongs don't make it right, but every time you win, they make it right. And so I wanted to bring you on to have the conversation because a lot of people don't. One thing we don't know about men a lot of times are their stories, right? And today you fit the script for today and for this conversation. So just tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you became, right? But let's start with who you are.
I'm Jason Turner. I'm 41. I have been married for 17 years. I have 4 children, 2 biological, a bonus daughter, as well as an adopted daughter. And I'm only saying that to preference what's going on within this, but other than that, you'll hear me say I have 4 children. I'm from the city of Inkster, small town, about 12 miles outside of Detroit.
Man, Inkster 2 blocks.
4 square miles to be exact. Don't do it like that.
That's why I used to harass all my coworkers at the airport, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I am from a different Inkster. If you know it now, you only hear the taglines and the headlines on the news, but I'm from the Inkster that was a community, that was the proverbial village. And to know me is to know Inkster, right? So Inkster is a suburb, but because of the hood and the different shenanigans that go on, right, people don't look at it as a suburb. But by definition, it's a suburb, right? It's Metro Detroit. It's a community outside of the big city. So with that being said, you got to think of where Inkster is located and where it's positioned at, right? So it's literally surrounded by Dearborn Heights, Romulus, Taylor, right? So Westland, Wayne. So we are the Detroit of the suburbs.
Right,
We're the black community.
Right.
That did wonders for myself, right? Because growing up, I didn't see. So although I know racism exists, especially as I've gotten older, I didn't experience it, right? Because I saw a black mayor, I saw a black councilman, right? I saw black police officers. So in my neighborhood, for me, it was a all black economy, right? So the local man at the store, I knew a black store owner. Allen's was the first black grocery store in Michigan that was right in Inkster. So I was able to see all of these things, but I also grew up in the 80s, right? So I experienced the crack epidemic. And with that being said, I saw the change, right? So I saw it go from this community to many. It mirrored the big city, right, as well as the other cities in the country, and it started to change, but we were only seeing the diverse effects that was really going on within the white communities, right? So we saw the drug use because that's where the drugs was at, but what nobody knew was they were coming from different communities. So that stretch of Michigan Avenue from Beach Daily to Middle Belt, it's maybe 10 to 15 motels, right? That's just drug infested, prostitution, all this. There's schools there, you got to walk past them. But Inkster people wasn't occupying those motels. Right. It was the businessman coming down from Ford. Right. It was the businessman coming down from GM and Chrysler that was coming to Michigan Avenue, wanted to play for the weekend when they get in town, want to use them expense cards. So they brought that energy to the neighborhood, and that's how people survived. That's how kids saw, imagine going to school and you walking past these people, right? So the drug dealer for me was on the edge. He was a good guy, though he was doing bad things, because you got to think how it was framed for me. I didn't see the bad stuff, right? I only see a man with money, he doing good, and back then they told us no, don't do that, right? So they were still semi-pillars of the community. You can go to them if you need something. I hate that's who it was, but that's who we were left with. Now, that's not saying that Mr. Pfizer wasn't down the street with his overalls on working. Right. That's a real name. He owns the whole block, many houses, But I didn't understand that he had money with them overalls in that old truck. I looked at the guy with the Lexus and the chain. Right? So seeing both of them, I from 2-parent household. My mother, she had a husband. My father, he had a wife. My mother and her husband ended up breaking up, so she was kind of a single mother, but they had 11 children. My father and my stepmother been together so long, I don't remember them coming along, but I remember when they got married because stuff started to get more structured around the house. Right. I remember when she moved in because then I had rules in the bedtime.
Right. So I had rules in the bedtime.
Yeah, I remember that coming along. But because of that, I had 2 different upbringings, and I was able to pull from those as I became an adult. I've stayed in multiple states, and because of that, I have been blessed to receive a lot of different opportunities, and now I just, in my opinion, I'm the liaison between worlds, right? I used to be ashamed of that. As I got older, and it's a process right now, I'm still going through, but as I'm getting older, I'm learning. One of my friends, Rodney Fresh, my fellow BBM brother, I heard him say, I'm not going to be ashamed because I got a daddy. Right? So with that being said, I'm not going to be ashamed no more. So I'm the liaison. Yeah, I'm too clean to be over here, and I may be too dirty to be over there, but guess what? I understand both worlds, and I'm going to help y'all talk. Right? I'm going to make this side get better, and I'm going to make this side be aware. That's my mission.
There you go.
It works, right? So in everything you just said, it kind of guides us to who you have become. You were a poet guy, right? And bowler. Tell us about your stint as the recreational director.
See, it just keeps going.
Right.
So a lot of times if you see me on social media with my son, we're posting, I use the hashtag, the kid that did. For my son, myself, as well as anybody who's dealing with us, because I'm the kid that made it. I'm the kid that did, right? So for all intents and purposes, if you hear one side, you will hear my stepmother was a corrections officer her whole life, right? 30 plus years. My father worked at Chrysler, had a construction job before that. He was always a good father, but I saw him grow up as well. He had me when he was young, so I saw him in the neighborhood. So for all intents and purposes, you'll say, oh, he was raised right, he was supposed to do this. On this other side, I got a chance to be a little more outside when I was at my mama's house, do different stuff, got raised bad, right? So I'm the kid from Inkster who was raised at the rec, right? So I remember these guys. BJ, Ruthie was the director when I was coming up. BJ was over all of the activities. He was like Inkster Mason, right? So we had these, we affectionately called the rec the complex. It's the Booker T. Dozier Recreation Complex. But if you're from Inkster or if you hooped from around, you would call it the Plex, right? And for out there, we had, at that time, one of the best and like state-of-the-art rec centers. We still are one of the last city-owned recreation facilities in Michigan because funding changed maybe about 15 years ago. So when we all grew up, it was called the Recreation Center, right? The community center, right? You would actually go to get stuff. That's where you would go to get programs, right? You would go when you didn't have, and you would find it there. Now they're not community centers, they're rec centers, right? And most of them are privately owned. Now you won't know that because you'll see this big old $1 million facility, whether it's in Livonia or Romulus or, you know, some of these different places, but the city doesn't own them. They're privatized companies that come in and they work with the city, and the city may have a seat at the table, but really it's a private owned company. Those employees don't work for the city versus Inkster, you were. So up into COVID, I worked with the city of Inkster at the rec, and I did youth services, and I worked with the seniors as well, but I was youth programming, and they gave me a chance. The mayor, one of my friends, William Morris, one of my good friends from childhood, he actually had got the director job, and he gave me full reign. Hey, let's go. One of the previous directors, Craig Lewis, he actually brought me in. He, again, knew me from childhood. Come on. And you got to think, when I got this job, I had to go into the city of Inkster police station and get background checks, and they had to walk me through. And it was a lot of police on the force. They old now, but these was the same guys who I used to call us havoc. Running from them on my four-wheeler and just doing all type of crazy stuff when I was young. And they like, you know who you got over here? And these guys vouch for me, you know. When you do wrong, it always there. You cannot be mad at somebody for always remembering. People want to move past. People want to say, "Oh, that was I'm here now," and they want to act like, you know, that wasn't them. No, that was me. Right. So with that being said, all I can do is show you who I am now, and that was like a labor of love. I was not making no money, right? At first, I wasn't making money at all. I wasn't even on payroll. I took the job as a volunteer. I was teaching photography. I had a photography class. I was coming up with programs. We had a $0 programming budget. $0 program. Right? But we had rooms. We had space. So I would go to people in the community, hey, I ain't got no money for you, but I got some space. You want to get a program going on? Oh, you want to teach hula hoop? Oh, you want to teach this, right? Yeah. So you send them through the background process of the city, and at least now we got active programs going on. We got programming. We got people who want to help. It's critical to have a community center for these children. I would get there in the morning and it would be kids waiting for that free breakfast. And it wasn't good, right? So for you to be here,
bacon and sausage.
You hear me? You know what I'm saying?
Tub potatoes.
Yep. Early in the morning waiting on this, you ain't got nothing at home.
That's right.
And them same kids who was waiting on me to open the door would be the same kids that I got to put out or take home at night. So you done been there with me all day long. Where's your parents, right? So I knew that. It's been kids who was my kids, right? Who done passed away, got shot, just all different type of stuff, right? So you bring that home with you. You take that home. It was a labor of love, not only for myself, my family, right? So if I'm taking care of the community, and that's the side that people don't understand, is the toll that it takes on the family, the toll that it takes on the children and the wife. Because it's not just the man that takes on this. That's why as a unit, you have to understand. We don't have money for carpet cleaning, right? I made fundraising. We going to get it from Home Depot. My wife cleaning the carpet. She knew how to buff and wax the linoleum floors. My wife is buffing these floors, right? She ain't getting paid for it. And I ain't even really getting paid. I got another job. This is just, you know what I'm saying? Because she not from here. She from California.
She said, what I get into? Come
what I get
here.
into, right?
It's Michigan.
But it becomes a labor of love. Right. And that's all I wanted to do. But it allowed me, that job allowed me to, I had already started to change because I moved to Alabama. Since we're here, we're just going to be candid. I moved to Alabama in 2005. I got shot. I was living a wayward life, doing some wild stuff, statute of limitations and all that, so we ain't gonna talk too crazy, but I was living a wayward life at that time. I got shot. You not hearing me say I didn't deserve it. It was what it was. That's the type of guy I was at the time, so it happened. I wasn't go. My parents, my mother and my father and my stepmother, they kind of banded together and was like, go or get away. I got shot in front of my mother's house. My siblings was outside. Oldest daughter was outside. All this was going on. older gentleman down the street who I love dearly ended up getting hit in the leg. It was just some bad kids who didn't know what they was doing, and they loaded the sawed-off gauge with birdshot. I was supposed to be gone.
Well,
That's what happened, and it sent me to Alabama. I had already changed, moved down there, met my wife. Didn't mean to, but I started to go through the process. From the middle of the neighborhood, I worked at a chicken plant, Tyson Foods. I ended up getting into management, getting trained by a white man at that time who I was like, I'm not dealing with these white people down here. They getting on my nerves. I meet a Mexican chick that I think I like. I ain't talking about Mary. I am a wayward man at this time, right? Mm-hmm. I ended up falling in love with her, found out she wasn't even Mexican. She was white. She was adopted by this Mexican family, right? Her sister was with one of them, and they took her in, and that changed life, right? Because
full circle.
Yeah, as a black man from Inkster who don't like white girls, who I had this vision, right? My daughter, right? I was gonna wake up, go in the kitchen, right? Go get me some orange juice, and my wife was gonna be sitting in front of the stove pressing my daughter's hair, right? That was the vision that I had. That's not how that turned out. But at the time, she had been with this Mexican family so long, the way she lined her lips, scrunched her hair, I thought she was a Mexican.
Right.
I saw these baby pictures and was like, oh my God, who
is
are
this?
you? How are my kids about to look? Like the Kardashians, right?
17 years later.
Gotcha.
But full circle, right? So we come back, we move back here, and I had already started that process of changing my life. But the rec center is what really started to turn me into the man you see today. Because at that time now, I am of service. Mm-hmm. Right? So I thought they needed me, but really I needed them.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's how it go. Heather, you got any questions?
Oh, I got.
Yeah, well, you better get them in. You better get them in.
Well, I wanted to talk about, and you moved toward that, your marriage and family and having that unit, as you called it, having the unit. What was it like to form that unit?
A process. I am got to do the shameless plug. Working with a brand, Paper Planes. They have a sign. They have a slogan. Greatness is a process, right? And in that slogan, greatness is a process.
It is.
So it was not hard. I was a young man. The good side is I had saw marriages, right? So long running marriages.
And you was born in one.
Yep, it just was what it was. My uncle so the dynamics of my family. My father is one of the younger children of his family, and my mother is the baby of her family. So my uncle is really like my granddaddy. He was old when I was born. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. All my aunties and uncles is old people. So really, they kids is like my aunties and uncles because they almost the same age as my dad.
Right.
So I'm cool with my second and third cousins just from how it is on the pecking order. Mm-hmm. So I only know 30, 40, 50-year marriages.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
My uncle just passed away, and as I was sitting there about a month or so, 2 months ago, I was sitting there talking to his wife, and she was telling me a story about how when my father came home to the hospital, she was taking care of him because my grandma had to go back to work. This is my auntie. You know what I'm saying? Right. And they already had kids, so that just show you the dynamic. So, yeah, went through the process. We done had ups, we done had downs, but the foundation of is what really always makes me stick with it. You know,
I was saying when I was getting out the car before your next question, so I know you got about 19 of them over there. I was saying when I get out the car, men hardly ever are the ones that file for divorce.
I'm gonna expound.
Please.
Right? We being all the way candid. 17 long years.
I know. That's how long I've been at it.
We separated. We got back together. The whole 9. I did the adverse. I took the kids, right? And I talk. Every time I go on these podcasts, and she just be shaking her head, waiting, because she know I'm about to say some crazy stuff, right? But it's the reality of. She came from the non-traditional, non-structured family.
Right.
Yeah, my family was broken in parts, but I still had great examples.
Right.
So I remember when we was split up, people would be like, well, what's wrong with her? Nothing. I would get offended. Not that they would say what's wrong with her. No, what's wrong with me? Why wouldn't you think the kids would be me?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what's wrong with this society. But go ahead, brother. I don't want to get there.
Way back when, and I don't know the full story because you know how it is. It was before my time. But my uncle had moved to a different state, right? Because people who know us, I don't want to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He had moved to a different state. He took his kids. He had moved from East and moved out.
Right.
5. Well, he had 4 boys at the time. I'm gone. Right? So this is what I saw. Raise his boys. He ended up getting remarried, out there. But I know my other auntie from here. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it happened. So I just always had these strong visions of men taking care of their kids. Right? And the uncle who I'm talking about was wild. He was a wild boy. He gone now, and that was my man. But yeah, I heard these stories and saw how he acted. And I ain't saying everything he did was right? But I was like, oh, no, not mine. Like, mine are coming with me and deal with it. So I took the kids and moved back to Michigan. Why I wasn't about to fight no white girl in Alabama.
That make all the sense in the world.
Yeah, we're not about to go through no divorce down here.
Yeah.
No, we about to go on my home turf where they know me. Oh, that's little Jason. I know the judge.
Right.
Well, I know the chief. So it was almost self-preservation for me to even work at Direct and to get myself together because I needed to change my image to be able to try to get with these kids. But in that process, I changed me.
Right.
Like, I was trying to change the surface, but I changed inside of me. And I went on this path. So, like Calvin said, men don't always file for divorce. My wife told me all these issues she had with me. And I want to be like, the nerve of you, girl.
I'm cold. I'm cold-blooded.
Yeah, and guess what?
You gonna find another one like this?
I was talking spicy, as they say. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? I had issues too. But the man, most of the time, will never say nothing.
Yeah.
You just be quiet. That's how it was, right? Yeah. So I'm learning to be more emotionally available. I'm learning not to build things up. Hey, this is what's going on, back and forth. But over the years, we have our spats. But just recently, I said the same thing. Hey, look, I got issues too, but let's meet the middle one, make them happy. I think too many people, one of the worst things I hate for you to say to me is you've changed. Not because I haven't changed, but because that scares me. Because if you're the type of person that's telling me that, I kind of not need you around me. Because if we've been together 17 years and you think I wasn't supposed to change in them 17 years, something is wrong.
Yeah,
and if you haven't, this is about to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think it's an important conversation to have. Men actually talking about relationships. Not that it isn't work. It is work. But are you willing to do the work? And really, just as women and me being a multiple wife, right? This is my 3rd marriage.
Okay, 3rd time's a charm.
Oh, absolutely. But see, I there's some things that I learned in the process, right? That I'm now able to apply and share. It's different when you say, okay, well, this is my relationship. If we're not sharing the tools, we are missing an opportunity to continue to build our community, because that's one of the things that we need is the example that you talked about, which I'm so glad you said that, and also that it was work. And sometimes you have to step back to step up. Work is something else. I will give y'all the quotable because I know Calvin love putting them words up on the certain stuff. And I share a lot of his little quotes with the words on it, so it's my turn. You know what made me get back? Because I was here. My wife was there. I was here with the kids. Do you know what made me get back with my wife?
What's that?
My girlfriend made me want my wife again. My girlfriend made me want my wife again.
Yeah.
Oh no! Listen, I already know what I got to deal with her. This is crazy. Mm-hmm. She know how I like my rice. Mm-hmm. I got asthma. Mm-hmm. She know how to handle this. I'm huffing and puffing. You asking me, can I go here? Can I go there? Yeah. And you mad when I say no? She already know about this.
That brings us to this wonderful conversation. This Saturday, we'll be hosting the collective. We'll be having conversation with women this Saturday. All right, take your time, and we're gonna talk about, because what you did was, right. You see the topic, co-pilot or passenger. You was talking to a passenger, looking for the co-pilot. So the passenger was telling you, I need to do this. I need to go there. I want some coffee. Can you bring me some tea? I need a shot. And the co-pilot was like, what we gonna do? So you was like, hold on. You got to get out this co-pilot seat. You don't deserve here. Let me put this co-pilot back up here. A lot of times, right, and we're going to go through that conversation with women, because women right now, everything is doing the same thing to women. They're telling women not to endure relationships. It's telling women to be an individual, and it's putting women in the worst position possible of protection and unprotection. And it's a lot of men, right, that loves to dabble in the individual and not understand what it takes to be in a couple. A wife is spelled W-I-F-E. A girlfriend is spelled Girlfriend. That's too many letters, brother. The wife bring 4, which keeps it simplistic. We can handle these 4. The girlfriend, that's just too much, because the girlfriend is the integral point of coming into a relationship. Exactly. Where I'm evaluating all these things, and you was going, wait a minute, I got asthma. You don't know how to make my rice. You don't know. You start evaluating from a perspective that men evaluate from. This is why men do not. We are not the ones that usually file first. We're not. In the enduring process that men and women have got to come to grips with is how marriages last, right? But all these people being made away from your environment. See, your environment, you saw. Your environment is my environment. Aunties, uncles, 3, 8, 50-year marriages. My brother right now married 40-some years, right? He got married at 19. People yelling, oh, you too young or whatever. My brother and his wife living the life. He done owned 2, 3 churches. You know what I mean? He living. And this is a brother that literally dropped out to protect. When my parents divorced, he dropped out of school to protect us. I got a quick story, my big brother, and I'm gonna move on. Then Dave, if you got a question, you can pop it in. When my parents divorced, we had Johnson Recreation Center. Well, I grew up on 8 Mile. Knuckles and knuckles. This is everything we had to do. My brother is out there gambling with older men to bring some money home. And my brother could make them dice pop at 16. And my big brother was out there. I'm standing there, and them dice was popping. Well, also, my brother could put these together. So once he took the money, they thought they gonna, come on my big brother. Brother, I watched my brother, 16, chop them men up like they was 12-year-olds. And in that mindset, his protective mindset is what took him. That's why at 19 or whatever, he could be ready for marriage, because he was what? Born in a marriage. He was the oldest. So he was born at the happiest time of my parents. Today, they've been married 41 years. Dave, you got a question? Heather, yeah.
I just say, Jason, I don't have a question. I just say I commend you for self-evaluating. The Bible tells us, let a man examine himself. And when one can examine himself, one can free himself, because they're not caught into the shackle of the limitations the world teaches in earlier game, you know. I mean, we have models, like you had models to look at, but we don't put a lot of emphasis on that. We look at the things that entertain us, that appeases us. Mm-hmm. And so we get caught up in that, and you get out into the life. But somewhere along the line, each time that you had your challenges or your ups and downs, you seem to step back and evaluate. And I think that's the beginning of wisdom. And so I commend you for opening your mind to grow and mature, because that's what I see you have achieved now, maturity.
Thank you. I really appreciate that because I pride myself on that specific characteristic. When I was young, so I got a saying, I know a lot of dead people. Right, I say that to my kids.
I see dead people.
Yeah, I know a lot of dead people. That's just the reality. From all causes, like bad and good. I just know a lot of dead people. If you follow me, you would be like, man, this guy got some owners around him. Cause y'all, but it's just because I done known so many people from all these walks of life. But when I was young, to see like people who I know and loved die like in horrendous ways. I'm the guy who, like, if you tell me it's a monster down there, I don't got to see it for myself. I'm not that guy. I'll take your word for it. I learn from other people's mistakes. I'm not the one who got to get his head bumped, right? So that causes me to kind of sit back and learn. I'm very meticulous. I'm a planner. You may think I'm crazy when I say I'm going to do this, but for me, it's just a strategic plan. So I don't see boundaries. I don't see ceilings. That's why I love the slogan, greatness is a process, right? So going through back and forth trying to get my son like a full sponsorship, you know what I'm saying, from Paper Planes for his bowling career. That's what I want. But the reason why I even went with them, because they partner with a lot of different community organizations, different small businesses, right, and they work. But when I first started talking about this, people was like, man, you crazy. How you going to do that? Well, it's really easy because they corporate offices got an address. And they CFO got a picture, and he got a social media account, and they marketing director, and this person. So it's really easy to get in contact with these people, right? So if you put together a strategic plan, why can't we do it? But on the same note, I'm also going to look at other people who's trying to do this path that I've done. Because that's what the Bible is, right? A list of stories, right? But they're not made up stories. These are actual events that happen. So if we're going to only look at the good ones, why are we not looking at the bad ones? We're like, oh, this is how he messed up, right? So the Apostle Paul was one of the great disciples, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't take heed from Paul. I like Saul. Mm-hmm. Right. What you laughing for?
Right, I hear you.
I like Saul, right? Because Saul was that dude. Right. I don't condone his actions, but I like all the wretches in the Bible. Because I'm like, oh, that's me. Or, oh, I know her. You know what I'm saying? But Paul was a Christian. I mean, Saul was a Christian. Killer, right? Then on that road to Damascus, right? He was blinded. And then he had to see the vision, right? So then he became Paul, to be all things to all people, right? So now I just told you how I was selling dope, right? I got shot, did some bad things there. Now I'm talking to you about Paul, right? So being that all things to all people. So for you to say that, I appreciate that, because that's how I grow. A story, me and my brother cousin, he my cousin, but we like super close. Right. He called me one morning. I was at AAU basketball game with my daughter and my son. Snowing, it was bad that day. Left the wife at the house. I say, he called, what's going on, man? You heard what happened? No. They say Kobe dead. What? No. I remember they shut the game down. They said it over. Said, man, his daughter was with him. They flew on the helicopter to go to the game. Now, imagine we just left my wife and daughter at home. And we done went in a snowstorm to this game. So it's like somber. Now, I couldn't stand Kobe growing up, right? That was me and my cousin thing, right? I was LeBron guy, he Kobe.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand him. Kobe was torching, you know what I'm saying, the Pistons. I couldn't stand him. After he died, I started to watch these things, and I remember me and my cousin stayed up in my house, and we had us a drink, and we was crying like he was our uncle. I had started to think about different points in life that, like, we be at our uncle's house and, like, Kobe was there, right? Because we would be there for a championship game, or we didn't watch this. And I brought it up because I got mad because I didn't enjoy him while he was here. So I started to watch all these interviews. He had this thing called the Mamba mentality, right? So anybody who listen or follow Kobe, he was a perfectionist. But I heard him say a quote, I cannot achieve perfection, but if I shoot for it, I can get close. But when you say, hey, I can't achieve perfection, and people okay, then they okay with 70%. But if you shooting for 100 every time, and that's what you going for, even though it's almost diabolical because you know you can't hit it, right. But you striving. So that means it really ain't no ceiling. Because even when you get to your ceiling, you're going to be mad because that's not enough.
Yeah.
And you're going to push through, and that has allowed me to not only receive, but to give. I sit back, I listen. Ooh, I can learn from this person. You only got to say it one time, that's mine. I'm going to repeat it. Maybe not now. Even if you telling me something I don't like, I'm not the guy or the kid that's about to be like, that's how I became knowledgeable. I listen to the grown people. I listen to the old men, even if I don't want to. I might know I'm not going to do what you tell me. I was that kid. I'm not going to argue back. I'm going to sit there and listen because I know I'm going to do what I want anyway. But I'm going to put that in my pocket for later on.
And that's what wisdom does. It collects. And you store it, and you do these magnificent things. Heather, you got another question before I get into some other things with the brother?
Well, mine is about the women. So you mentioned you have 2 daughters.
3.
You have 3 daughters? Did I miss it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 daughters.
Yeah. Remember?
Your bonus, right, and your daughter and then your friend. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you for the correction. So tell us about what it's like being a girl dad.
Yeah, it's lopsided in the house, right? It's women. Right? So, I can say it now because she finally just announced it. My oldest daughter live in Alabama. She pregnant. Her and her gym, they are house, everything. Right? So I ain't mad because they don't ask me for nothing, right? So it's a great situation, right? You're only mad when they need. And Daddy, can I come? Right, you out of my house, you got your own, you doing, I can't do nothing but be okay with the situation.
Okay, right.
That's my stepdaughter too, right? When I tell you the letter that she wrote me, she texted to me, it was me. I make the joke all the time. That other guy he gave her some DNA, but that's my baby. Because I raised her, you know what I'm saying? It was like I wrote the letter.
Wow.
It was like I wrote the letter. She was like, look, I know this might not have been, the prescribed way, but hey, it's happened and you gonna deal with it. It's your grandbaby. You probably gonna say, I'm this, I'm that. Yep. I said it myself already before I got it. It was like I wrote it to her. You know how you be like, but then the person say something.
Yeah.
But by the end of the letter, I was like,
yeah,
you got this. I did my job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Parenting is at the house. Once they get out in public, it's time to shine. You don't teach out in public. That was for the house. Now the kid jumping on my sofa and you talking about something, sit down. No, you've been letting him do this. You know what I'm saying? So with these girls, it's been a different type of process still.
Yeah.
Because it's levels, right? You go through it with each one, especially when you got stair steps, right? So the oldest is out there. Then she's charting her path, but then that one right behind her, like, ooh, right? Especially my DNA. Look what I just said. So I'm preaching this in my house. So now they looking at the other one like, ooh, Mike can get away with this. Dad reacted this way to that. So let me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are way more. My son is easy.
Yeah, them daughters.
My son easy. He is very rudimentary, right? When something go wrong in the house and he did it, we know.
Them daughters.
Everybody. Bro, Hey, look, I say this on a daily basis. Stop talking, right? Because stop talking. We know it was you, but them girls, they'll make it look like it was.
Set him up every time.
They is smart. It is what it is. I am learning right now, and I just had this conversation a couple of days ago. My middle daughter, she is about to be 17 on the 28th. The one right up under her is 16. She doesn't turn 17 until May. But I tell them on a date, so we got a finished basement. Our room is in the basement. I don't come with this y'all house up here. I got a man cave, like full. I don't come up this y'all house up here, right? So y'all are young adults at this point. I am not the micromanager. I taught, I teach, go out and make the mistake. I will not let it happen. I'm the daddy who's gonna let you get burnt. I ain't gonna let you get 3rd degree burns, but you definitely gonna be like, I don't want to touch that.
You gotta let them learn.
Wow, that's deep.
You gotta let them learn. Yeah.
So with that being said, it's also my position. So I'm gonna give you a take that a lot of people did not agree with me on, and I didn't care. At a young age, I told, and I got this from my barber, childhood barber, Belinda Jenkins. I heard her tell her son this when I was little, and I was like, I'm going to remember that. I don't have any money for college for you. Now, let me preference that. The reason it's said is because you're not about to get a down payment on the second half of my life. Now, what I do have is every resource now. Because I'm a father. I ain't a baby daddy. I ain't none of that. I've been there with them from day one since they came out. My wife had C-sections. I did skin to skin first. I cut that cord. I saw them because they was too busy sewing her up and she was out of it.
Yes, sir.
I got the baby. Them was mine. Them my children. So guess what? You need a tutor? Let's get it right now. You need an iPad, laptop, desktop? Let's get it right now. I just made a post a couple weeks ago where I said I believe nepotism is real. And I listed this long list of pictures with my son. With all type of famous people, different stuff, whatever Daddy, I want to do gymnastics. I want to be a karate man. I'm so tired of these old uniforms at the house because he didn't, and all of them did everything, right? So it's my job to give you now. So I gave you the platform to get an academic scholarship. I gave you the resources and the training to get a sports scholarship. And I gave you the resources with all the people that I'm connected to go to trade school, to get in the entertainment industry. You want to learn podcasts? I got somebody for you. I got a guy, right? I don't got no money for you for later on. You're not about, all y'all grown now I'm supposed to be, take out this loan for school. That's not going to happen. So with these girls, it's different because I understand the benefit of a wife. I understand the need and the responsibility of a wife and a mother of the household. So with that being said, I think especially in our community, and this is the blessing of being able to be around these different cultures. For the first month I was in Alabama, I didn't even see a black person because of where I was staying at. Being around these other cultures, I think in our culture, and it was made this way, the little girls are not being taught how to be wives, and the boys are not taught how to be husbands, right? So as a collective, we say, oh, y'all want them white girls because they let y'all do anything. They take everything. No, they taught to keep their household together, right or wrong. Now, listen, preference, because if you don't know me, you see me walking with the white girl. 17 years of my wife watching this. I don't like white girls. Not that I don't think they pretty. I love some different ones, right? I grew up, facts of life, you know what I'm saying? I just saw some pretty white girls. But culturally, I hate to say this, but I'm from a nigga family, right? You know what I'm saying? I got some crackhead cousins, right? I got some shiesty ones. I got some good ones, some Jehovah's Witness ones, some pastor ones. A regular white person could not fit into my life, but she was with the Mexicans, and they different too. You know what I'm saying? So she was able to understand. But being around these white people, those little boys are taught how to be a husband from an early age. Those little girls are taught to be a wife. So I'm not teaching my daughter, hey, you gotta do this on your own. And I'm not about to implant in her head right now at this early age she don't need a man and to be self-sufficient and all of this. No, you need a husband. And guess what? This is how you take care of your husband. This is how you serve your husband. Now, I'm going to get flack. Oh, you teaching him this? You right. But guess what I'm teaching my son? This is how you protect your wife. This is how you provide. Guess what? Ain't nobody going to say why so-and-so got them kids walking. Why so-and-so got them kids out on the street. That's your job, boy. That's what you supposed to do. But guess what, daughter? While you thinking I'm teaching you to be submissive, I am. But in that submissiveness comes your power. Because guess what? A truly submissive woman controls the man. He knows it, but he really okay with it.
So while you preaching, right? And teaching, right? Specifically, was the main reason for you to come on. See, if I say it, it's a different ballgame. But if you say it, it's a different ballgame.
I want to add too, because I do poetry, because I'm a speaker, I actually called him or text him for talking points. Hey, is it something that you want me to research? Is someone? Nope.
Nope, you got it.
It's going to be what it's going to be. I want you to talk about you. So this was not rehearsed. Me and him didn't talk about it. He didn't give me talking points. But this is something that we have in discussions as friends, as brothers. We have talked. We've been in meetings with each other, and we have leaned upon one another, so he knows my views on things. But yes, a truly submissive woman empowers the man enough to where he wants her opinion.
Well, again, now that's a co-pilot.
Yeah.
The passenger, I'm not going to give it away, but the passenger already got the parachute on. The co-pilot don't get the parachute.
Yes.
They got to go find the parachute after everybody is off the plane. So all the passengers jumped off. So while you was out here passenger shopping, you saw she had that parachute already. I say what you said I needed to say because I got a whole reason around, and that's part of it, how they're able to walk the athlete into these relationships. And people don't understand about men. Men want family atmosphere. And so if you can't offer me a family atmosphere a man will take a woman at 50%, even if she offers family atmosphere.
Yes.
We have a process where we think she got to be 80%, right? Because I got all these things. I'm all set up. Nobody said they're going to take none. It's called prenup. We can do a prenup. Anybody going to take nothing away from you. If you serious about this, we'll do a prenup, right? That's just the conversation. But the first time you at the prenup, that means you not, in my opinion, we got a different conversation. But in this co-piloting thing, she comes to the table with a certain skill. Where was she taught to how to be a family at a family? So I was explaining this in another way. If you have a 70% single household rate, you learn emotions. You learn division. You learn how to fight other cultures. You learn how to say that you're hungry. You learn how to have a poor diet. You learn how to accept going through drive-thrus. You learn how to manipulate for new gear and shoes. You learn how to fall off and blame somebody for it. So in that dynamic, and that's not all of the 70. I'm saying right now, the majority
Yes.
is feeding the system. Foster care, you just pull when you save one from going. Foster care, juvenile, prison, these things are being fed. It's like it's plugged in like the movie Alien, and it's the little babies was everywhere. I
want to speak to exactly what you just said, because I was just speaking to a group of individuals about this. We just had the election, right? So Trump just won.
Right.
Overwhelmingly, black men, Latino men, Latino women voted for him, right? And he ran on hot topic issues, right? So, believe it or not, these people were voting against their interests because they're not in the tax bracket that he's speaking to.
Right.
So when he's speaking about the economy and putting money in your
Right.
pocket, he's not talking to you. But this isn't even about politics versus it is the actual issues that the politics create when it trickles down. So, due to my esteemed colleagues, they had me doing a lot, and I'm okay with it, but they had me doing a lot of political things that I didn't do prior to now, right? And I told them. I spoke about it very candidly. I never saw it trickle down to me. That's why I wasn't a part of the political process. But I end up learning over time how it trickles down to these systems and things, right? So they got you voting and so up in the air about the president, but you're forgetting about your councilman and your sheriff and all these people who are judges who making laws and are directly affecting you. But to go what Calvin just said about the pipeline and feeding, there is a school to prison pipeline that is in effect that you don't see. And school, standardized education, and prison mimics each other. But I'll tell you this. When you hear them run, the Republicans, or just the party, when you hear them run on abortion and all of these Christian issues that they talk about so candidly, it's really not about that, right? It has nothing to do with that. What they want is, so hear me out, they're playing a game of strategies and averages. So even though white people will be affected, so don't get it wrong, because they will say, but you are collateral damage.
That's right.
What will happen is when they do these abortion bans and they do these pro-life choices, they know little Shaniqua, right, who is systemically from a single parent household. We talking generations of them, right? Their grandmama stay across the street and her mama stay across the street, all in the same projects, right? When she get pregnant and they tell her she can't have an abortion, guess what happened? Now little Daquan gets born without a father in that same environment, and guess where he going? To that privatized prison. And the pipeline continues to get fed.
So, again, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Jason, tell the people where they can they can reach you at, brother.
You can go to my page, Jason Turner, on Facebook. I'm just me. I don't got no crazy names. But on Instagram, you can reach me at SS_JROCK at Instagram. And you can always catch me at the Building Black Brickmasters as Facebook as well. I'm one of the members.
Yeah, and I don't want to forget to shout out your love, man.
Thank you. I'm so proud. If y'all could, please go follow my son. His name is Antoine, ANTWON, capital BORTHWELL. He is a bowler, up and coming. He is 14 years old. He'll be bowling for John Glenn this year. He is up and coming. He absolutely loves bowling. Just past weekend, we just had the all-city tournament up in Washington, Michigan, and he shot lights out. Just to give the non-bowlers perspective, a perfect game is 300. He was bowling a 3-game set, 253, 268, and a 179. That ended up happening because a pipe burst, and I actually just posted a pipe burst overhead in there. It's raining in the building.
Yeah, he had it hot up in there.
And he still shot this under the pressure. So please go follow him. And before we get out of here, I want to give this one last story because everybody asked me, so I would rather do it on this platform. They always ask us, these are biological children, right? Because their name is Borswell. So I told you my biological parents were never married, right? So I didn't get my father's last name. Now, as he grew and got older, he tried his hardest to get my name changed. I was the rebellious one. I'm already me, right? So my nickname was Jay Turner in the neighborhood, right? So JT. I love the 5 heartbeats, right? So JT was super cool. I thought I was JT, right? So I kept my mama's name, Turner, right? And as we got older, he was on my head, man, change your name, change your name. I was already me at that time. But when my children were born, I was very adamant about that. And people don't know that. You can give them whatever name you want. So I gave them my father's last name. So all my children has my father's last name. And my family's name, Borthwell. So that's why they have a different last name.
Eventually, you'll get there. Dave, tell us where we can meet you.
David FMAM Patterson on Facebook and DROM7 at yahoo.com.
Miss Heather? Dr. Heather. Hetheru.
You can reach me at yourinspiredwithad.journey.com. That's yourinspiredjourney.com. Or you can reach out to me directly. Please don't DM me. You can reach me by phone at 313-759-7855. And you can find me on Instagram under inspired_journey1.
Baby, they sending you disrespectful pictures in your DM.
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. I was just checking. You know what I mean?
No, it's just hard to get to it.
I was about to put my, cape on.
Y'all bet now. I don't need Calvin trying to get me back to the other side. But he can make a call.
Right. So you can reach me at calvintman.com. I'm expanding the Boys Matter conversation, and there are some things coming up for that as we continue to pull up after giving the RV up and pull up on having these conversations with middle school and elementaries. I am very grateful. Thank you, Jason, for coming on, and I'm very grateful to have these conversations because it's important. You all don't get fatherhood stories. You don't get the perspective from the father. The media does that on purpose. People do that on purpose, right? They make sure whatever it is, whenever a father shines, we have a tendency to say, well, he's not really shining, right? Or we have a tendency, I believe wholeheartedly, when children are in the car, I know it happened to me, where there's a negative conversation about the dad, right? And we have to be careful about these conversations, but the kids remember. I remember the time when I was at the dentist and my young kids we took them to the dentist, and both of them said, if you and mom are getting a divorce, Dad, you got to take me with you, right? And I remember that specifically, but later on we come to find out that these conversations were happening in the car. And I get it, right? Because women, you all are emotional, and sometimes you feel a certain way and you say certain things and you think that it's not harmful to the kids, and it is, right? And I think on some other hands that we have manipulation. But in this process, the real conversation we heard in here today was fatherhood accountability for a man's legacy. Remember, there's a reason why you got my last name. Peace.
Good stuff.